And welcome to part 4 of the Impactor medals in ANB for ANB Silver 10. Last time out I said that I would experience farm both characters down to the 7 hours remaining mark, and then we'd see where we are. So I'll start here with Vasuva, who has medals. Champion level 1111 on the nose. A lot of legendary gear crafted. Haste, speed, rate, power, experience is what I'm looking at doing across the board. The vitality on the Integralis mantle completely unnecessary. That was crafted very early when I didn't realise how much toughness either character would have. The trinkets, haste, speed, rate, frost damage, experience, haste, speed, rate, frost damage, experience. These still to be replaced. Haste, movement, speed, power, experience, haste, movement, speed, power, experience. I have done the same build across all three pieces of jewellery. 9 vitality, 9 experience, 5 haste, 4 ability rate. This ring is slightly better than anything else on the other slots, purely because it had, actually, is it? No, it's this ring. This one had radiance socketed, all the others had teardrops drop in. Before I go in and look at the stats, there's one other thing I want to mention. This character is further ahead in terms of crafting legendary gear. This character has bought, or this account does have the premium stash, a secondary stash, so they don't need to spend any gold in ANB unlocking the regular stash, which works out about 1 or 2 pieces of gear depending on how much space you need. And when you come to craft jewellery, for example, where you might need a lot of space to store things, it can be a bit of a problem. I don't think it's going to be a significant thing in the grand scheme of things, but certainly at the 2 hour mark it's enabled the character to have more gold available for crafting. So as a tip, just in case you hadn't realised this, if you are going to expand because you a stash space in ANB, look at these first few tabs only for expanding. So if we look for the first row of that stash, it's 1000 gold. If I was to look at row tab 6 and look for one row, 26,000. So if you are or do need to unlock stash space, do it on these first few tabs, because it's much cheaper than adding a row to these later tabs. So that's tip of the day out of the way. Let's take a look at the overall character. Way too much toughness, but I decided I'm going to stick with the build that I was going to use anyway. I'm going to be using this at Troll 105. So we have, not in there, down here, damage 23411 to 351,000 and 35,109. I can't read. Power 2646, damage increase 1323%, haste 2271, 5.3 hits per second, or 5.25 in reality. I've not changed the bracer still, it's the last on the list. It will be a Frostbeam bracer when we come to farm 105, so bracer mastery will come along shortly, which will get rid of that last fire damage and add in some frost. Vitality, we have masses of it. Total life 109,049. Our armour at 6849 is 82% less damage. life on hit, we've got 208 more than on the other character. Does absolutely nothing at this level. Does absolutely nothing at pretty much once we're beyond 70 really. Ability rating 1824 and experience gained is 3326. So that has allowed Vesuva to open up, as expected, a lead on Kasplat, who we shall now go and take a look at. And here we are with Kasplat. So, just to show, I needed to unlock a couple of rows for gemstones to hold an entire page for jewellery, so that chewed up 1 or 2 crafts worth of gold. So as a result, character doesn't have as many legendary items yet. Something else, I've been running Kasplat first and then Vesuva second. So Kasplat has sort of been a crash test dummy in terms of finding out which trolls are best to run. So has lost some time in running some higher trolls that really weren't worth farming. So Vesuva got the benefit of knowing I shouldn't go and look at, say, troll 90 just yet because the damage isn't high enough. And Kasplat's been as high as 95 with a Frostbeam build, and it really doesn't work yet. I'll explain why shortly, but just showing it's exactly the same build across the board. The jewellery 9 vitality, 9 experience, 5 haste, 5 ability rate, again haste, ability rate, power, experience. This again with the vitality, that's totally unnecessary. Power would have been better. And the rest of the build will be identical. This will become a frost fire sash, and again we've got the same on the trinkets. So 1054 champion level, so what's that, 57 difference, which isn't a great deal at this stage, and it will close back up as we gain more champion levels. So it surprised me actually how close they are still at this stage. I mean, we're only 2 hours in. On the details, damage 18952 to 28421. That is quite a long way behind Vesuva. One of the main reason for that is that we still have this epic sat here. They both have 74 weapons. I think Vesuva has got about 100 more on here as well, so we've got a better staff and a 72 legendary tome compared to this 70 epic. So your gear is far more important than medals, which hopefully should be aware of anyway. Power 2164, 1082% increase. Haste 2211, 5.3 hits per second, so 5.25, exactly the same. Our fire and frost damage, not really that important. Vitality 964 for total life 97048. Got more than enough for running troll 105. Armour 5808, 79.5% less damage. Ability rate 1828 and experience gain 3131. So they both run troll 80 in the fastest runs are about, I'm going to say 58 seconds for Kasplat and 56 for Vesuva. Typically they're running somewhere between 60 to 70 seconds on average at trial 80. Kasplat's been up to 95. That felt too slow for me. One thing that I am going to do next is I want both characters to have a second vortex, so I'm going to add Maggie to both accounts, purely because the lack of that second vortex is hampering both of them quite severely. They get the first death from above, volley away into a large crowd of mobs, and then thereafter all other volleys of that are just being scattered all over the place, and it's a big mopping up job which is losing a lot of time. So both of them will get a Maggie. What I'm going to do with Kasplat, who's still got nearly 2 minutes here, so a couple of trial 80 runs hopefully, and then it's gold farming down to the 6 hour mark, at which point hopefully they shall both be in a position to be able to easily craft any remaining gear. It's just a case of farming materials, which they should be doing at 105 with the Maggie added in. So what we'll do is possibly meet back up once the legendary, not when the legendary gear is done, when the experience farm is done. I might drop in some clips of Troll 105 for each account as well. So see you again soon. And welcome back. It is late Sunday afternoon. It has become very apparent that I am not going to be able to do a full comparison all the way through this event. Real life has got in the way too much. So what I plan to do is take Kasplat to finish the EXP farm and then do a push with them. At the moment they've got their as much as the EXP set as I was going to build. I haven't enchanted the staff or the helm as I normally would. Power is absolutely pointless on this character. You might say, well, how's that so? You see here, champion level 1737 and better gear, but our best run of Troll 105 came at, if this ever loads, champion level 1140, so about 1200 less power. Maps and mob composition far more important. I will throw in a couple of Troll 105 runs just so we've got some footage, and what I'll do is talk through the push gear once it's finished. I might have a little talk about some of the enchantments and things that are sitting there at the moment and what my strategy will be. Problem that I've been facing with these maps is a ridiculous amount of super slow moving mobs, and obviously my playstyle doesn't suit that. Maybe an extra vortex will make things quicker, but obviously it helps when the buttons work as well. Let's beam those down. This map's not too bad. So we've got Kara out relatively quickly. So this is a no medal account. I have to use Marcus because that wouldn't vortex in. So that's a fairly typical run. Somewhere between 110 and 125 is how the average run is going. Let's just do some inventory management. One more run and we can do a mess salvage. What I like to do with gemstones as well is it takes 81 commons to make a brilliant, so I get them to 82 and then do a fuse all, which will make sure that one stays in the inventory so we don't get things getting all messed up, and then I can just fuse these up into a brilliant. So as far as push gear goes, it's all crafted. There are 2 items that I will probably replace, the cape and the talisman of power, and try for something better or something with a socket. I want to wait until I have crafted enchantments for the necklace, the 2 rings and obfuscation on the Glacis Tempestus. So I have a cloak and boots sitting here as well, just in case I have enough materials set over that I can maybe look at crafting boots with a socket as well. So unfortunately there won't be any comparisons on the push or how we finish on EXP farming, because I'm got half an hour here. It would be another 2 hours for the other account with medals to do EXP farming, which is going to take far too long into the night and not leave any time to do a push. So I'll take the medalled account just to 110 just to grab the other celestial transform. But it'd be nice to do the push with medalled, non-medalled account anyway, just to show that medals or not having any medals isn't any barrier to trying to do well on the leaderboard. So we'll probably be back the next clip looking at our final push gear and then push clips. So see you again in a bit. And welcome back. If there'd been more real life time available, then there's another good hour and a half EXP farming on this character, but that's sadly not to be. So at the end of EXP farming for Kasplat, our account with no medals, we've got champion level 1847. In terms of stats, that we were doing 370 or 37,052 to 55,567 damage per hit. Power 4053, our haste at 2277 gave us 5.5 hits per second. Frost damage at 74.7. Ended up with a nice amount of vitality and life, 111,363, armour 6581, 81.4% less damage. Ability rate 1997. And our experience is down to 10, that's the base value, 1094. So we were well over 3000% EXP. We've suffered no harm in not having any medals in gaining our champion levels. In terms of the stats, in case you wanted to know, the helm had haste, ability rate, power, experience. I didn't put any enchantment on it. Necklace, vitality, experience, haste, ability rate, socketed with armour. The shoulders were haste, ability rate, power, experience. Robe, haste, ability rate, power, experience. The IM, haste, ability rate, vitality, experience, socketed with armour. Talisman of power, haste, experience, frost damage, ability rate. Our Fire Lily, same, haste, ability rate, experience and frost damage. The Arm Guards, haste, ability rate, vitality, experience. Interesting. Bracer of Mastery, just an epic, haste, frost damage and experience. This was quite a low Frostbeam value, but more than adequate for what we were doing, farming experience. Frostfire Sash, haste, ability rate, frost damage, experience. The Pants, haste, movement, speed, power, experience. boots, I decided not to change from the epics I crafted earlier. So haste, movement speed, experience, it was a good experience value. I didn't want to lose that by crafting probably a 72. The first ring, vitality experience, haste ability rate with vitality socketed. Vitality experience, haste ability rate, more vitality. The glaces had haste speed rate, power experience, no enchantment, and the igneous haste speed rate, power experience, and again no enchantment. Now the reason I've used defensive gemstones is purely because power, as I've said, really doesn't do anything, whilst EXP farming, as I showed in the last clip, my fastest run had been at about troll champion level 1100 and something. I did eventually get a good map, which just goes to show that we've got a 58-second run, close to the end of our run of XP farming. The most important thing for a fast run in EXP farming is pure luck. So when I say pure luck, it's down to having a very good map that's either small or it's got a high mob density or lots of elites that you can burn down very quickly. Whereas for most of the runs I had very large maps with large scattered groups of exceedingly slow moving enemies that just took forever to round up and kill. So what I'll do is stick on the push gear and we'll have a look at that and see how our stats look. So we'll be back in a moment. So here we are with the push gear. This sheet damage is quite low. The biggest factor in that is not the greatest weapons for push. Level 75 and 74. Better to have 76s, but we can live with these. Toughness, perfectly adequate for what we're going to be doing or where we're looking to get to. I'll run through the stats and the enchantments and then we'll look at the details. So helm is haste, speed, rate, power, vitality, socketed with power. We have osmosis socketed, enchanted as well. So roughly every 2 seconds our primary target takes slightly more damage. For the necklace, haste, power, life on hit and vitality enchanted with power. The pads, haste, ability rate, power, vitality and more power enchanted. Our robe is haste, ability rate, power, vitality, and we have vitality being added in as an enchantment. The cape, I did recraft and got one with the sockets, although it's slightly worse than the one that it's replaced. The socket I think makes up for that. So haste, ability rate, power, vitality, with power socketed and power enchanted. Our big chili, talisman of power, haste, ability rate, frost damage, vitality. Got a level 77 fire lily. At the time I was torn between crafting a weapon or a fire lily, and perhaps I should have gone with the staff, but never mind. Haste, ability rate, frost damage, vitality, socketed with power. The arm guards, haste, ability rate, power, vitality, armor socketed in and more armor on the enchantment. Bracer of mastery, haste, ability rate, frost damage, vitality, Frostbeam 463, that's not bad. On the pants, haste, ability rate, movement speed, vitality with 200 armor socketed and a bit of movement speed. Boots exactly the same, haste, ability rate, movement speed, vitality and more movement speed. The two rings are identical, haste power, life on hit vitality, armour socketed and power enchanted. On the glaces, haste, ability rate, power, vitality with obfuscation, so we get a slight damage reduction from ranged attacks hitting us. And finally our igneous, haste, ability rate, power, vitality, socketed with power and slayer for increased damage for 5 seconds whilst we're fighting bosses, and certainly when it's beaming through elites as well, so that's a very good enchantment. If I had added that to my experience farming gear, it wouldn't have made the runs any faster, or it wouldn't have made the fastest run any faster. All it would have done was improve the average run time, but not by a significant amount. But it's certainly a very nice one to have on your experience farming gear. But I was conscious of crafting push gear before thinking about any sort of enchantments for experience farming, and just time isn't going to allow for that. So I'm in a position where the last hour and a half could have been used with a Slayer enchantment, but we're not going to. So our damage 58,922 to 88,367, not brilliant, but we will have to live with this. If we had some power medals, it wouldn't make one jot of difference at this stage. If we added, I don't know, 60 power in, it's not going to do a great deal. Haste 5.6 hits per second, again with the medals that are on the other account, it would still be 5.6, in reality 5.5 hits per second, so not going to make any difference on that front. Vitality and total life, that looks good, 230302, we're going to improve that some more in a minute. Armour 7087 for 82.5% less damage. Life on hit 3700, very nice. Ability rate 1883. Have I still got experience gained? Oh, I got something with experience on it. Interesting. So let's stick on. I should have done this before doing that. Let's celestialize our 77. That's interesting. I think it's when I set aside 40 radiance ready for the enchantments for the rings, and then put any others into this stash here, but made sure that I had those separate elsewhere so they didn't get lost. One interesting drop, this was the crafted helm, haste, ability rate, power, experience, and from a trial, haste, ability rate, power and experience. So those are the stats I like for Fire Lily EXP farming, so I thought, oh, perfect to take back to the main account. So I've kept hold of that one as a drop. So I think what I'll do is drop in some clips of the push. I doubt there'll be any commentary for them, so sit back and enjoy.
Kill the summoner. Now it's hard. Take down the healer. Still recharging. Burn! Freeze! Burn! Not quite yet. Burn! We need it last. Foes ahead. A strong one. Kill the summoner. Take down the healer. Freeze! Kapow! recharging. Bad guys ahead. Burn! A strong one over here. Freeze! Take down the healer. Kill the summoner. Still recharging. Burn! Not ready. Not quite yet. Bang! Freeze! Not ready. Yes! Legendary! There's nothing like the forest. Vengeance! A strong word here. Take down the healer. Kill the summoner. Kaboom! Still recharging. Wow! A legendary! Now it's burn! Take down the healer. Kill the summoner. Burn! Freeze! Burn! Not quite yet. Boom! They have a healer. I've been looking for you. Burn! Freeze! Not ready. Not quite yet. Freeze! Not quite yet. Burn! Freeze! Freeze! Still recharging. Freeze! Burn! Not quite yet. Still recharging. Freeze!
And welcome back. I decided to end the push at Troll 143. I didn't even take a single look at 144. I was hoping to go to 146, at least I could show all the bosses with this character. But unfortunately it was getting very late and I still needed to at least get the Silver with medals up to Troll 110, so at least I could take something back to the main account from the event. So yes, it's very unsatisfying for me in that I can't give you a full comparison between a medalled account and non-medalled account at the end of the event. Unfortunately real life got in the way, so best laid plans and all that. But we did, where have we finished? So 31 Kasplat. Hopefully that does show that not having any medals isn't a barrier to performing. I think the most important factors are, one, having a good set of gear, and our weapon isn't particularly brilliant. We could have gone a lot quicker on some of these runs had we had better weapons. Another really important factor for a fast clear on your push is having a good map. So if you've got loads of elites, especially elite healers, that can kill a run and add 2, 3, 4, even 5 minutes to a run, especially once you up very high trials at the top end of the leaderboard, which is why people tend to abandon those. But I think we've done okay with this. We've gone on a budget run. There's still loads of time left on the event clock. Over 3 hours, although the event has very much finished. I did stop at one stage. I know there wasn't any commentary for the push. I wanted to focus on playing that properly, even though the Broken Dragon fight was terrible from my point of view, the way that I played that one, running through multiple overflow attacks, getting hit by all of them. I did switch out at one stage. I had fleet-footed and I stuck in celerity, and the reason for that is that our synergy hit 150, which gave us 1% attack speed. Before that, our hits per second were 5.7, which in reality is 5.5 hits per second. That 1% synergy plus adding in celerity threw me up to, on the sheet, 5.8, which in reality is 5.75, so it was an extra hit every 4 seconds and one extra stack of frostburn damage if I managed to get a full beam on the Frostbeam attack. So that's the reason I switched that out. I did stick on the coffee and stew as well. Coffee to replace the, or make up for some of the loss of fleet-footed, and I didn't really need to use the stew of the day, but I remembered that I had them in the stash, so use them while they're there, even though they're going to go over to the main account when I do eventually end this event. So if you made it all this way, thank you very much. I know it's been a very long video. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to ask down below, and thank you very much for watching.